Hi everyone. Thank you for watching DevRelCon Tokyo 2021 interview session. I'm Daisen, co-organizer of the conference. In this series, we invite awesome speakers of the event and we ask them to introduce themselves and ask about their talks. Today's show, we have JJ Asghar from IBM. It's my first time to talk with him, so I'm excited to get to know about him. Are you ready? Please welcome JJ. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How's your day? Is your day just started, or it's still already in the lunchtime?
Oh yeah, no, it's the very beginning of my day. I got out of bed, come directly here to talk to you. No, I did take a shower. I did take a shower. But yes, I came. This is the very beginning of my day, and thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited for this conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, it's my first time to talk with you. I know you from previous DevRelCon, website. It's actual you. It's my first time. So yeah, to get started, can you introduce yourself to the audience and to me, please?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, I'm JJ. I'm a developer advocate for the IBM Cloud. I live in Austin, Texas, and I do say y'all, if you didn't know. But I grew up here, and I love talking about cloud technologies and things like that. And I'm here to kind of just talk about things that I've learned over time and running open source projects. So hopefully we'll have a great conversation around some interesting things, and hopefully I'll help get people more interested in the open source ecosystem. And if you ever are curious, I do stream on the IBM Developer Twitch on Thursdays US time, sometimes Fridays, and I also have the YouTube channel of all my previous streams, so you can kind of see me becoming a better and better streamer over this world that we live in today.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that you were streaming. So, when did you get started? Turn on your camera.
Yeah. So frankly speaking, basically as soon as COVID started happening and travel stopped, I talked to my boss at the time, and he's like, "Well, why don't you try streaming? Like you were going to stream when you weren't traveling just to keep your talks up." And then it turns out, well, I mean, with COVID-19 and the world the way the world is, I learned streaming has a real place. Me and my friend, his name is Paul Tchaikovsky, we stream on Thursdays where I get so much engineering time, right? Where I can learn new technologies and things. So we use that time together to be able to learn something new. For instance, we learned some things about OpenShift or Kubernetes in general. So you can actually see Paul and me, who are professional speakers about this stuff, learning real time these things that we need to teach other people. So it becomes a really interesting learning experience.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I also started streaming last year, and after COVID-19 gets increase in numbers. But first few streams, I couldn't read a chat while I was streaming. So I'm curious at how you became better and better daily basis. So how often are you or did you stream usually? I mean, weekly basis?
Yeah, so I target at least weekly, but I also help other streamers inside of IBM keep them going too. So it really depends. Like no matter what, it's at least once a week. But then I try to do a second time or third time, and I actually spend the way I stream and the way I tell people to stream is if you're doing technology, not gaming, right? Like if you're trying to do engineering work, streaming, you need to have a goal. You need some goal to try to do. If it's like write a bash script or learn some Python, that's fine. But you need a tangible goal. And if it takes you 10 minutes to get to it, that's a 10-minute stream. If it takes you 4 hours to get to it, it takes you 4 hours. So it really depends, because the biggest challenge with the streaming in general is that everybody has one stream. Everybody has two streams, but it's the third, the fourth, and the fifth that are always the hardest, because you run out of ideas. You're just like, well, I mean, I streamed how to do this on Kubernetes, or I streamed on how to do this on OpenShift, but what do I do now? And then you're trying to build an audience. You're trying to build people to trust that you know what you're talking about. So I've come along to try to create a stream for at least IBM developer where I let you look behind the curtain, right? Like this really is me trying to learn how to do this stuff. So that presentation you saw me do on stage, right? It's not stage anymore. You now get to see, oh, it took me 8 months to learn how to do that thing that I was presenting, and this is me doing it live.
Yeah. I pretty much understand that, it's a kind of different from the YouTube video, because you can spend many hours to edit, record,
Exactly.
but on the Twitch stream or YouTube live streaming, that you share your vulnerability or learning curve to the audience, and that's how people love and the people participate or engage you in the chat or in the comments. So yeah, I really like that. Cool.
If you didn't know, there is an actual DevRel collective of Twitch streamers out there that I don't know actually who owns this list. We've been trying to figure out who did this, but there's an actual list of Twitch streamers that when you are not streaming on your channel, it streams other DevRel people from all over the world.
Ooh.
So there's a list. So we have a bunch of these DevRel people who came together at some point. We don't know when. Created this list of people that. So like I believe one of the sponsors, Vonage, of this conference is one of the streamers on that group. Same as with New Relic and Microsoft, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, I need to check with them. Yeah, I need to I think you can follow the Blood Collective, the Twitch streaming group, right?
I think so. Yes, absolutely. There's no reason why you couldn't. I should probably find this information out, but I just thought about it, so I wanted to mention it.
Cool. Thanks. Okay, now let's get into your talk. So you are talking about the open source project and the communities. So you spend long time to support them or educate them to grow the projects. So can you talk about your talk a little bit, but without spoilers,
Yes, absolutely. But the main thing I would like you as an audience member to get out of my talk is that most companies, when they want to go into the open source world, the first thing they think about is, oh, we'll just put it on GitHub. We'll take this code that we have internally that we do for something. We put it on GitHub and we open up a wiki and the nerds are just going to come flying in, right? Like that's what they think they need to do. And you'd be amazed on how many corporations still think that, especially even today, after all DevRel has kind of made this very well known that you have to do more. You have to be there. You have to build the audience. You have to be able to have empathy for everyone who's involved. Like it's not just put it on GitHub and walk away. So I try to tell that story in a very kind of roundabout way, but while I go through that narrative, I come around and I hit all the major points to help grow communities in general, or at least the ones I've seen as a community leader and a community cultivator is a good word. Like I cultivate small communities. I've had really great successes with some projects that are still going that I've walked away from. Like they've done the job, they've gotten going, and I've been able to kind of walk away and not worry about it anymore. But I've also had epic failures. Well, just completely bad, and not realizing what I was doing at the time. And I want to take those lessons and make sure that I tell these on stage, because I know that people want to do this. Like I genuinely believe our community, especially the DevRel community, we have the skills to make this successful, but we need people who've walked into that forest first to tell you where those ravines and those branches that might trip you might be.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I get your point. A lot of companies open source the source code, or nobody maintain or nobody advocate the project, then project is going to die or just nothing happens. So yeah,
Exactly.
I really want to hear what you were talking. Now this is cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah. So I heard you were streaming a lot, or you were speaking in the conference a lot about it. In a previous backstage conversation, you have the tips for the online conference. So the last thing, can you share the tips to the audience?
Oh, yeah. So, so first of all, with streaming online or just in general, the good tips to have if you're trying to get into this ecosystem is, first of all, find a quiet place. As much as you think it's quiet for you to present, it's not quiet. You need to find a quieter place. How many times have I been on a call, like just that Zoom call that or that WebEx you get on, and that person, they're muting every 20 seconds because they're in their car or whatever. Well, believe it or not, when you're streaming or doing online conferences, it's even worse, and people can tell, like they can, and it's. I had one gentleman, for one of the conferences I was at recently. He actually went to a coffee house, right? Because he thought it was quiet there, but you know what happened every 4 minutes? Espresso machine, because there's fucking coffee in the background. And he was like, "Oh, you can't hear that." I'm like, my ears are bleeding because it's so loud. So, and that was during a panel too, which was even worse. But anyway, so that's my first real tip, is to find a real quiet place. Second, use headphones. Absolutely use headphones. Yes, some of the software tells you might get feedback or whatever. No, always wear headphones, because you never know if you're playing out of your speakers and then your microphone accidentally picks that up. It's even worse. You don't want that. And third, my third final tip is, even though I do have a really fancy microphone, right? You don't need a fancy microphone to start. You don't. You need good headphones, and you can use just your normal laptop mic, right? As long as you're in a quiet space. As you get more practice and you start feeling a little bit more comfortable streaming in general, then you start looking at the better microphones or the soundboards or stuff like that. But don't do that from the beginning, because it costs so much money. And if you don't like it, or if it doesn't work for you, you're just wasting money, right? Like, don't do that. Get good headphones, find a quiet space, and just be willing to be there.
Cool. Yeah, I just remember, I started streaming last year, and I started purchasing mics. Your tips absolutely make sense to the audiences. And I also noticed that I'm having tech check with a lot of speakers for the conference, and if you don't have the good, if you don't have the earphone or headphone or good mic, people can tell. So absolutely, every speaker needs to take care of their environments. So thanks for the tips.
Exactly. Sure.
Cool. Yeah. So thank you for the great speaking. Good talking with you, and great tips, and as well as the great interaction with yourself and your talk. Yeah. Do you have any last words to the audience for the this event?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to y'all. I do say y'all.
Yeah.
And I really do, like, I absolutely adore the DevRel community. I adore people trying to be involved in it. And I really do hope in the near future, not years, hopefully sooner than years, that we can all be in the same place together, and I can sit down and shake your hand or respectfully acknowledge you being in front of me. And I really do hope it happens sooner than later.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. I really hope that we can see in person next year or soon.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay, JJ. Yeah, thanks for joining today, and I hope that you have a great time with us on the day. So yeah, be safe. Thank you.
You too.
See you. Thanks, CJ. So yeah, this is the end of the interview. We're gonna have the event on the June 5th. So please register the event, and we have the game that we can play, and you have a chance to win swag. It's only lasts like a 5 to 10. So let's get to work. So see you soon, guys. Thanks. Bye.